Brother, leadership is the first thing that sets a man apart. The first quality that burns into a woman's memory and never leaves. But leadership isn't about standing at the front of a room or carrying a title. It's not about power, control, or authority forced onto people. True leadership is about presence. It's the ability to step forward when others hesitate. It's the courage to act when most men freeze, the decisiveness that cuts through doubt. A woman never forgets the man who knows how to take charge without needing to dominate, who makes choices with clarity, who moves with confidence even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Think about how often you've seen men hesitate over the smallest things, planning a simple date, picking where to eat, making a decision with friends. Most guys avoid responsibility because they fear getting it wrong. They stall, they deflect, they wait for someone else to choose. And while they're standing still, one man steps forward. One man says, "Here's what we're going to do." That's the man who leaves an impression. Because in that moment, he shows strength. It's not about whether the plan is perfect. It's about the fact that he had the courage to move first. The truth is, most people are silently waiting for someone to lead them. They want direction. They want certainty. They want someone who removes hesitation from the air. A man who understands this becomes unforgettable because he becomes rare. When a woman meets him, she remembers the way he made her feel secure, the way he made her feel that she could trust his decisions, even if things didn't go perfectly. Leadership is not about arrogance. It's about assurance. It's about stepping forward with calm conviction. Even if others disagree or plans change, the fact that he was willing to carry responsibility marks him as different from the rest. And leadership isn't confined to grand moments. It shows up in the little things that reveal who a man is. It's choosing a direction when everyone else says, "I don't know." It's taking initiative when others would rather sit back. It's being the man who acts rather than the man who waits. That energy, that ability to stand firm when others hesitate, leaves a lasting impression. Women don't remember the man who stood in the background hoping not to mess up. They remember the one who stepped forward, who wasn't afraid to risk being wrong. Because the act of leading itself radiates strength. Leadership is also about steadiness. It's not about barking orders or trying to control others. It's about guiding with confidence and calm. A woman doesn't forget the man who could carry himself with quiet authority, who could show her that he didn't need approval to move. When you lead, you take on the weight that others run from. And that weight shapes you into someone people respect without you even asking for it. That's why leadership lingers in memory. Because when most men hesitate, the leader moves. And that movement, brother, is unforgettable. Brother, vision is what separates the men who fade into the background from the men who can never be forgotten. A man with vision carries fire in his chest, a kind of restless hunger that refuses to settle for average. And here's the truth: most people settle. They graduate, find a job that pays the bills, build a routine that keeps them safe. And slowly, almost without realizing it, they let their dreams gather dust. They tell themselves they'll chase something bigger one day, but one day never comes. That's why the man who wakes up each morning with purpose, who refuses to fold under pressure, who keeps moving towards something greater than himself, becomes unforgettable. Because vision is rare, and when someone encounters it, it leaves an impression they can't shake. It doesn't matter what your vision is. It might be building a business, sculpting your body into its strongest form, creating art that stirs the soul, or climbing to the peak of a career that fulfills you. What matters isn't the exact dream, but the relentless pursuit of it. The man with vision doesn't just talk, he acts. He shows up day after day, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's lonely, even when no one else believes in him. That kind of consistency demands discipline. And discipline is a language everyone understands, whether they admit it or not. A woman may not know the details of your goal, but she feels the energy of a man who lives with direction. And that feeling sticks with her. Vision gives you a light that cuts through the dullness of everyday life. It's what makes you magnetic. When she sees you choosing work over distraction, growth over comfort, discipline over laziness, she notices. She may not say it out loud, but deep down, she knows she's in the presence of something rare. Most men crumble at the first sign of difficulty, but the man with vision becomes steady. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't need applause. His reward is progress. That kind of focus cannot be faked. And because it cannot be faked, it cannot be forgotten. Discipline is the backbone of vision. Without it, dreams are just wishes. Discipline means you hold yourself accountable. It's waking up early to train your body. It's managing your money instead of wasting it. It's saying no to things that pull you away from your purpose. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's magnetic because it shows control. And self-control, brother, is power. She will remember the man who quietly lived with standards, who proved his strength not through talk but through action. What makes vision unforgettable isn't the outcome. It's the pursuit. She may leave you. Life may take you in different directions. But long after you're gone, she will remember the image of you grinding toward something greater than yourself. That image doesn't fade. Because most men coast. Most men compromise. But the man who dares to dream and disciplines himself to chase it becomes a memory that refuses to die. That's the power of vision, and that's why no woman ever forgets it. Brother, strength of character is the quality that separates men who are easily forgotten from those who live on in memory long after they've walked away. And at the core of character is the power to walk away. Most men cannot do it. They cling, they compromise, they beg, because they are terrified of losing her. They convince themselves that holding on is strength, but in reality, it is fear. The truth is, women do not remember the man who begged to stay. They remember the man who refused to be treated as less than he deserved. When you have the courage to walk away from disrespect, games, or situations that diminish your worth, you show something most men will never show: uncheckable self-respect. That self-respect is what lingers in her mind because she knows deep down that nearly every man she meets will fold under the pressure of loneliness. But when she meets the one man who is not afraid to stand alone, that memory never leaves her. Walking away does not mean anger. It does not mean drama. It means calm conviction. It means knowing your worth so deeply that you cannot be manipulated or pushed into a corner. When you walk, you do it quietly, with steady dignity. That discipline cuts deeper into her memory than shouting ever could. Because what you're showing is rare. You would rather lose her than lose yourself. And that, brother, is unforgettable. But strength of character doesn't stop at walking away. It also shows in how you treat others. Respect is another trait that marks you in people's minds. A lot of men show kindness when it benefits them, when they want something in return. But the man who treats everyone with dignity, the waiter, the driver, the stranger who has nothing to give back, that man stands out. Women notice the way you handle those moments. They notice whether your respect is genuine or performative. The man who carries quiet respect wherever he goes shows character that cannot be faked. And character is more powerful than charm because charm fades the moment the mask slips. But character is steady. Strength of character is also about standards. It's about what you accept and what you refuse. If you allow people to cross boundaries without consequence, you weaken yourself. But if you stand firm, if you live by a code that you don't compromise for anyone, that energy becomes unforgettable. People may not always agree with you, but they will always remember that you stood for something. And women, in particular, remember the man who lived with principle, because it's so rare to find. When you combine the ability to walk away with genuine respect for others, you create a presence that cannot be ignored. You're not bitter, you're not arrogant, you're simply grounded. Grounded in who you are and what you stand for. That combination becomes a memory that doesn't fade. Because in a world full of men who bend to fear, the man who carries strength of character becomes impossible to forget. Brother, emotional steadiness is one of the rarest and most powerful qualities a man can possess. And it's the reason some men remain unforgettable. Life has a way of testing everyone's plans collapse. People disappoint. Unexpected chaos hits without warning. In those moments, most men reveal their weakness. They panic, they lash out, they shut down, or they let their emotions take control of them. They become unstable, unpredictable, and in doing so, they lose respect. But the man who stays calm, under pressure, the man who breathes when others are suffocating, who adapts instead of collapsing, he becomes etched in memory. A woman may forget what you said. She may even forget what you did. But she will never forget how safe she felt in your presence when everything else was falling apart. Safety, brother, is unforgettable. Think about it. When life throws a storm, most people scramble for shelter. But the man who stands steady in the rain, who does not lose his balance, becomes an anchor for everyone around him. That doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It means you don't let them control you. Anger, fear, stress, frustration, they will always appear. But steadiness is mastery. It is the ability to acknowledge those emotions without letting them dictate your actions. That kind of mastery radiates strength, and strength is remembered long after you are gone. A woman will test you, sometimes intentionally, sometimes without realizing it. She might push, she might provoke, she might create tension just to see how you respond. Most men crack. They get defensive, they argue, they lose their frame. But the man who stays composed, who doesn't need to match chaos with chaos, shows a rare discipline. He shows that his emotions are his own, that no one else has the power to control them. That, brother, leaves a permanent mark, because she realizes she is standing in front of a man who cannot be broken by pressure. Emotional steadiness is also about resilience. Life will knock you down. There will be failures, rejections, betrayals, disappointments. The question isn't whether you will feel pain, the question is how you will respond to it. Most men let setbacks define them. They drown in self-pity. They give up. They lose their spark. But the man who takes the hit, steadies himself, and keeps moving forward, shows something unforgettable. He shows that no matter what life throws at him, he will not crumble. That resilience, that quiet refusal to be defeated, becomes a memory that lingers because it speaks to strength on a level deeper than appearance or charm. This steadiness doesn't just affect her. Perception of you affects everyone around you. People remember the one who kept his composure when things went wrong. They remember the calm voice in the room of chaos, the steady presence when emotions were flying out of control. And once they feel it, they never forget it. Emotional steadiness is rare, but if you master it, brother, you become the man people look to when storms rise, and that makes you impossible to forget. Brother, authenticity and presence are the final marks of a man who cannot be forgotten. And together, they create an energy that lingers long after you're gone. Most men wear masks. They say what they think people want to hear. They adjust their personality depending on the room. They fake laughter, fake confidence, fake interest. They shapeshift because they fear judgment, because they crave acceptance, because they do not trust that who they truly are is enough. But the man who walks into any situation as himself, unapologetic, unfiltered, grounded, that man is unforgettable. Authenticity is magnetic because it is rare. People feel it instantly, and women especially remember it because honesty stands out in a world full of pretense. Imagine meeting someone who doesn't bend his opinions just to please, who doesn't nod along to avoid conflict, who doesn't try to impress with a version of himself that isn't real. That presence lingers because it feels solid. Authenticity cannot be manufactured. It is lived. And when a woman meets a man who is completely himself, she knows she is in the presence of something uncommon. She might forget the charming guy who told her what she wanted to hear, but she will not forget the man who was real with her. Even if his truth wasn't polished or perfect, but authenticity alone is not enough. It has to be paired with presence. Presence means you are fully there in the moment. When you're with her, you're not scrolling through your phone. You're not half distracted. You're not thinking about something else. You're tuned in. You're locked in. You're listening with your full attention. And that, brother, is one of the rarest gifts you can give anyone, your complete presence. Most people live split lives, halfway here, halfway somewhere else, always distracted, always rushing. That's why presence stands out so much. It makes the other person feel seen, heard, and valued. And the way you make someone feel is what they will remember most. When a woman looks back, she won't replay every word you said. She'll remember the energy you carried, the way you looked her in the eye, the way she felt like the only person in the world when you were together. That feeling is powerful, and it doesn't fade easily. Presence builds connection, and connection is what makes memories impossible to erase. Authenticity and presence together form a force stronger than looks. Stronger than charm, stronger than wealth. Because looks fade, charm can be faked, and money comes and goes. But living as your true self, while giving people your undivided attention that never loses its impact, it's what creates a memory that lingers years after you're gone. So, brother, if you want to be the kind of man a woman never forgets, live in a way that impresses yourself. Show up as who you are without pretending. Be fully present in the moment, wherever you are, whoever you're with. That energy will not only make you unforgettable to women, it will make you unforgettable to everyone.